For fact's sake, stock price increases have absolutely nothing to do with the federal debt. Let me show you how this works. Debt is what the government owes through spending. The only way to reduce debt is to increase the money that goes to the government, either by raising taxes or with stronger economic growth or by reducing spending. The market gains.
The president say that again?
You can't.
So the president lied to the American people, the forgotten American who was saying, I want to have more money. I want to reduce the deficit. The only way you are going to reduce the national debt, and yes, it ballooned under the Obama administration, is if you raise taxes and cut spending, neither of which are happening. Tying that to the stock market is pure garbage.
Doesn't make any sense at all. These market gains that the president was talking about, that's money that companies make. We talk about how they grow the economy, but it does nothing to affect the debt. There's some abstract way in which you say if companies make more money, they pay more taxes, and that reduces the debt. That's not what the president is talking about. He made a mathematical equation that is absolutely incorrect. Unless you raise taxes, which apparently doesn't seem to be the plan. Let's talk about what the president has said about that.
For years, they talk about tax reform. I said, the problem with the word reform, nobody understands what it means, because reform could mean you're going to raise taxes. This is the largest tax cut in the history of our country.
Well, I like the fact that he's actually calling it a tax cut because it's kind of what it is. Let's talk about where we are. Corporate taxes. The current rate is 35%. That's a statutory rate. That's what it says on the books. Most companies don't pay that. Our actual rate's about 18 to 20%. The president wants to lower the actual rate to 20%. He claims that doing so would give Americans a $4,000 pay raise. He keeps saying this, and Stephanie and I keep scratching our head because we don't know how that actually works. Many economists say it's actually impossible to know how this cut results in a $4,000 pay increase to average Americans until we find out the details. Generally speaking, when companies get tax cuts, they keep them for themselves and distribute them to the shareholders. It doesn't work its way through to wages. We also the president wants to cut the tax rates. We currently have 7 tax brackets which apply to different levels of income. The president is proposing going through to 3, but we don't actually know who falls into these 3. And there's some estimates that in the middle, some families might actually end up paying more in taxes when they end up in a higher tax bracket. We have to find out more information to confirm or deny what the president is saying. Now, according to estimates, the president's plan could add, listen to this, Stephanie, could add between $2.2 and $2.7 trillion to the debt. So the president
talked about. How does the Freedom Caucus feel about that?
Right. This is the president said that.
So to the president's point about cutting the national debt, this is the opposite of cutting the national debt.
A red arrow going up is the opposite of cutting. So this is unbelievable. I can't understand what this is all about. If we're getting into the business of congratulating people for market gains, which Stephanie and I are always telling people, don't get too nuts about blaming presidents for markets losses and crediting them for gains. But I want you to look at this. This is the S&P 500. It's bigger than the Dow. It's sort of more important to look at.
Are you speaking about the 113-month gain?
Look at this. Go back to 2009 when President Obama took office. In that month, the S&P 500 was at about 800. That was the level of that exchange. Take a look at where it went through the entire Obama administration. This is until Donald Trump took office. If you want to just take a straight edge of some sort, let me just grab a piece of paper. And if you were to draw a continuous upward line, guess where you'd be? Right where we are today. It stands at 2,100. So again, it's a dangerous game. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. If you want to talk about stock market gains and what they're due to, we have had one, as you said, for 113 straight months. That conversation with Hannity was just weird.
How are Gary Cohn, how are Steve Mnuchin possibly going to defend President Trump's statements last night? And you do have some smart economists. You've got guys like Larry Lindsey who have said, I think the tax reform plan will work, but it gets muddied and destroyed by the president's own hand with nonsense talking about stock market gains wiping out the national debt.
Just doesn't
Shame
work that
on
way.
you. That, my president, is a lie.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.